Thanks for coming to my channel for this yin practice today. I'm Megan McCarthy, and we're going to focus today on feet and ankles. Very important part of our body that should never be overlooked. They get their own class. Much of our proprioception, so how our body knows or our brain knows where we are in space, comes from our feet and our ankles. The mobility and strength of our feet and ankles also has a lot to do with having a healthy spine. Additionally, we have a number of the energetic points in our body that start in the feet. So all very important in the yin practice. But having said that, if you have a lot of tightness through your feet and your ankles, maybe save this one for another time. You can do my somatic class for happy feet. That's more of a movement-based practice. This practice is going to take us deeper into some stretching of the yin tissues of the feet and ankles. So you will need a blanket perhaps if you want to put that on top of your mat to make it a little more cozy. This is about being cozy. 2 blocks for sure, or something to put your foot up on. So if you have a stool or a blanket would probably work too for that. Something to lift your foot, because we're going to finish today with a Thai yoga self-foot massage, which is something I do for myself all the time. Although if you want to learn it and get somebody else to do it for you, all the better. So we're going to start down on the floor, and you may want your strap for this. We're going to do a half happy baby, so coming down onto the floor. And you'll see that I will be coming out of pose from time to time, checking our time. But the whole point in yin is to find the place where you find your natural point of resistance. Stay in that space for as long as we can still, and then just try to keep your awareness in your body and your breath. So as you come down onto the floor, let your back relax, and more importantly, feel your feet. So I want you to start with your feet on the floor. So knees are bent. And just notice what you can feel in your feet today. And also notice what you can't feel in your feet. What can you see? Can you see your big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe? Can you feel the ball mound just behind the big toe, across to the little toe? Feel the arch of your foot and your heel. And then getting ready for the first posture, bring just your right leg into your body. You can hug it in. And if it's available to take your hand to your heel, so not the ball of the foot, but the heel. I want you to be on your heel. Then you can do that. You could even do both hands if you'd like. But I want you to put your hand on your heel because we're going to focus on that heel. If that's not available, you're going to take a strap. And same thing, but the strap will go, and sometimes I just like to use the strap. The strap is going to go right on the heel as well. So not in the center of the foot, but on the heel. And then just draw that leg down into like a half happy baby. So you're going to bend your knee, draw the thigh to the side, and begin to draw the thigh to the side, but gently press your heel, just creating a little bit of resistance. Press your heel into the strap or into your hand. And the focus is to stay in the heel with this one. You can stay here and notice the whole leg line, the shape of the leg line. If you'd rather extend your left leg long to get a stretch through the top of the thigh, you can. Sometimes that left leg lengthening is more accessible if you put a bolster or something underneath your left thigh. So that is an option for you. And we're just resting here in the awareness in the heel. And we're just creating just a tiny, eventually we'll relax, but to start a tiny bit of resistance. Push the heel into the strap and use the strength of your arm, so your arm will be slightly engaged, to draw the thigh bone and the shin and calf and the foot down towards the floor. And then see if you can completely relax the toes and the sole of the foot. And continue to visualize your heel. So I follow the Ayurvedic principles of marma therapy. And our heel bone, the calcaneus, is where the Kirchashira marma is. And that is the marma point for your liver. It's also the marma point we work with if we have any sort of discomfort in the sole of the foot, such as plantar fasciitis. So as you're holding this position, feel your heel. You happen to be on your right side, so you could also visualize your liver in your right side and maybe take some breaths into your right side. And there may be lots going on in the back of that right leg line and calf. It's all connected. Remember that when we do the practice of yin, it's working through the connective tissues. So those that begin and end in joints, but also the continuous fabric of the fascial tissue. And you'll feel that stretch as well. Sensing the heel bone. You might even feel the Achilles in the back of the heel. And within yin, we try to remain still. The exceptions would be if you find that you're uncomfortable, back out of the pose a little bit. If you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, if that body sends you that invitation, that's also an option. And then being present in any of the layers of your being. So that might be the physical layer, feeling the right leg line, or perhaps the top of the left thigh opening. And that is a great place to be. You could also be more in the energy of the pose, feeling that right heel bone. And you could feel it through the bone. Or think of the energy running from the heel and into your liver. Keep relaxing the sole of the foot and the toes. If they're not relaxed, you can gently wiggle your toes. Give them a little movement. You could also be in your breath body. Just feeling your natural spontaneous breath. Or you can send your breath all the way to your foot. We'll be here for about 1 more minute. Staying present. And your mind will wander, but come back into the heel. Relaxing the rest of the foot, that slight bit of pressure. And I always know when I'm getting into some of those deeper tissues because my leg will start to tremble a little bit, so if that's happening, that's fairly normal. If in this last minute, we've got about a minute now, if you'd like to take this right leg into extension to get a long leg and open up that whole back line of the leg, you're welcome to. But you may not be able to keep your hand on the heel anymore, so that might be a requirement for a strap, but keeping that strap or your hand on the heel. So imagine pressing your heel up towards the sky and the hip into the floor, lengthening through that leg line. So feel your whole length of your leg, starting from the heel and coming into the pelvis. And you might sense that stretching or the tension through the back of the leg line, the whole leg, the calf, the hamstrings. Just letting the leg relax. Feel the weight of the bones of the right leg falling into the hip joint. If your arm is up, which it should be, your arm is slightly strong, but relax the right shoulder blade into the ground. Take your last few breaths. Leg might be extended, or maybe you're still in the bent leg position. And when you're ready to come out of this posture, come out 1 limb at a time. So you might slide that left leg in first if it's extended. You can slowly bend the right knee, take the strap off, take the feet back down to the floor. So coming back into the space where the feet are grounded. The soles of the feet on the earth. So we receive the energy of the earth through our feet. And you're welcome to move if that suits you better, but we're just going to take about 10 breaths in between the two sides. And just feel yourself once again from your feet, right and left. You might just feel your feet or feel all the way through the leg line. And do you have more awareness of one leg than the other? Or is one warmer or cooler? Does one feel longer or shorter? Maybe there's tingling sensations in one leg. Someplace else there's not. And then we'll get ready to do the second side. So leaving the right foot on the floor to start, bring the left leg into your body. Say hello, give it a little bit of a hug. Once again, you have your choice. I have really long arms, so it's not so much about the flexibility of my hips, which are tight, but my arms are long, so I am able to get one or both hands to my heel, but that may not be doable for you. So if that's the case, please use your strap. If you don't have, these are special straps that I made with loops on them, so you could take it so that the strap is over the heel. But get a hold of the heel, strap or hands, and then start to draw the front of the thigh bone somewhere to the outer ribs, but where it's comfortable for your hip. Draw the heel up over the knee, so shin bone straight up and down, and then slightly create some resistance. Press the heel into the strap, but keep your hip on the floor, and then use your arm and try to fight that resistance just a little bit, pressing heel into the strap. Draw the leg down towards the floor with your arm, so creating that resistance. And then if it feels good, you can go ahead and extend your right leg, feeling the stretch to the top of the thigh. If that's too much, please put a bolster underneath your thigh or your knee. And we're just resting into that space. So once we've found that little bit of resistance, the arm will remain strong, but see if you can relax the leg line, especially the foot. Relax the arch of the foot and the toes. Feel that left heel. Once again, the Kirchhoff marma associated with the liver. And it may seem strange to make these connections from the heel to the liver, so just pick one. Be present in your heel or be present in your liver. Keep relaxing the arch of the foot and all that soft tissue in the center of the foot. Release your toes. Sometimes bigger is better, so you can feel the whole line of the left leg. Whatever it is that you're feeling, be in that feeling. Breathe into that feeling. Can you sense your heel bone, the shape of your heel bone, the size of your heel bone? It's almost as if that heel bone's still trying to reach up as the rest of the foot relaxes, but the weight of the leg bones are just falling towards the earth, relaxing the muscles. So sometimes certain poses, it may not take long to feel a little trembly, so you have to decide, is that trembly, do you feel safe, or is it something that is making your heart go faster, or is it compromising your breathing in any way? And if that's the case, then back out a little bit, because yin is about nourishing and restoring. So not to say we won't feel sensation, but the idea is to be able to be comfortable. The nervous system is relaxed, even with what might be slightly uncomfortable in the physical body. So learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. But one of the signs that you are comfortable is that you're still breathing smoothly. Breath is flowing in and out. That you're saying nice things to yourself, like how lovely my toes are. I wish I could get a pedicure. Staying in that leg line. Got about a minute or so left. You're welcome to keep that left leg in that half happy baby position, feeling the heel. Or if you'd like to go into the back of the whole left leg, extend the left leg upward, maybe still holding the strap, hands to the heel. Press the heel into the strap. Relax the shoulder blade down to the floor. And then feel yourself all the way from the heel bone. Notice that tension or the stretching through the back of the left leg. Sometimes we feel it more in the calf, otherwise it might be in the hamstrings. And you may have a little bend in your knee, right? So adjust it to fit your body. See how much you can visualize and experience through the whole back of that left leg. Still relaxing the weight of the left leg bones into the hip socket. Low back is soft and supported. Keep the head and the jaws relaxed. Find those spaces of strain or resistance. We tell ourselves it's okay. Maybe even ask them to release. Take your last few breaths, maybe breathing into your liver. Sense your liver in your right side. Thank you, beautiful liver. And then when you're ready to come out, do so one leg at a time once again. So you can slide that right leg in if it's extended. Slowly bend the left leg. Remove any strap or hands from the left leg. This time we'll take a full minute before we go into the next pose. And so you can just sit here with feet on the floor. If you know you need more movement, you can hug your thighs in and roll around a little bit. That might feel good. Any other posture that you want to do. We're going to be coming on to our shins next. So if you need a down dog or a cat cow, that's also there for you. So I am getting some props for this next one because I will show it with props to make it more accessible, because where it's sometimes, the nice name for it is toe squat. The more accurate description for some people is toe torture. But it's a great stretch for the whole top of the foot area, the ball mound area, and really important to stretch that area. So we're going to be stretching the tissues and the sole of the foot. So we're going to come on to our knees. And this is your first test. Bring your ankles as close together as you can. See if you can even keep your ankle bones together. What I like to do, because I like to bring a little bit more sensation in, not suffering, but sensation, is I'll go back and I'll actually spread my toes out. So if you know you've got lots of mobility in the toes, you can do that. Go back, spread your toes out. And then what we do, we try to keep those ankles together because they're going to try to pull apart. Keep your inner ankles pressing together. Is we spread those toes and slowly come back. So for a lot of people, putting all of the weight of your body, which shoulders over hips is all my weight, into the feet, that's a lot. So if it is, you can stay forward. In fact, this is an opportunity to stretch your wrists out too. You could take the backs of the hands to the floor and stretch your wrists. You could face them either direction. Or the other way I like to do this is to take a block and put it underneath your knees. 1 block, 2 blocks. So you're still getting that nice stretch through the arches of the feet and the ball mounds, but it's not quite as intense. So the option of putting the block underneath your knees is there. If you only have a blanket, you can put a blanket underneath your knees. So we're going to start official starting position, wherever you're comfortable, just letting the weight go in. So now we want to focus on the space in the big toe mound. So think of the big toe mound. If you can reach back, you can even touch it. There it is. And breathe into that space. So in marma therapy, the big toe mound is kircha. And kircha has to do with our splenic health, our spleen, which is on the left side. So visualizing that big toe mound. Breathing into that space, sending love and light into your spleen. This is also a very important space for the nervous system as a whole. And staying present in that space. The other thing we find is that this is a good stretch for the creases of the toes. So the creases of the toes correlate actually physically with our neck. So just watch that even if you're forward, your neck is in a comfortable position. And comfortable might be dropping your head down. If you're upright, then relax the base of the head back. So I know that when I teach this one in class, there's oftentimes I'll look around the room and there's lots of grimacing and tight teeth. So one of the ways to know if the pose is fitting for the rest of your body, is just feel your facial features. Are you tightening your brow or your eyes, your lips? Can you keep your tongue soft in your mouth? Those are all signs that we're challenging ourselves, but we're meeting that challenge, right? This idea of, we use the term resilience, that we can take ourselves into a space that might be a little uncomfortable, but we can still smile. Coming back into the space of the big toes, just underneath the big toes. Feel the toe creases themselves. And also notice we're compressing the fronts of the ankles. So sensing that. I'll be here for about 1 more minute. We don't hold this one quite as long typically, but staying present in that space. And just ask your body, what is it holding on to? What are the feet holding on to? Our feet are our lifeline into the energy of the earth. They're our space of earthly balance. And take your last breath there. When you're ready to come out, you can come forward. It's going to feel really good to take the tops of the feet down to the floor, but what I usually like to do is just gently pop them on the floor a few times. If that doesn't feel good, then don't do it, but you can kind of bop them on the floor, stretching the tops of the feet out, the tops of the ankles. You can also just kind of roll your heels side to side or lift the feet up. If you make circles with the ankles, you might sense that in your shins and your calves, so you can circle those ankles around a little bit. If there's any other movement you need, take that extra few breaths to do that before we go into the next posture. I'm getting ready for it. Next one, I'm also going to give you 2 options because I've taught yin long enough to know that certain postures are not accessible oftentimes because of knees. If we have limited mobility in our knees, it's just not comfortable, for instance, to sit like this. So if you know you can't sit like this, and you can sit like this, we call this hero pose, you can sit like this on a block. 1 block will still do, or even 2 blocks, then it's still going to work for you. You could take 1 or 2 blocks or blanket underneath you, but we want the tops of the feet coming onto the floor. If that is not accessible, sitting back, because your knees are just have too much to say here, then we're going to be stretching the tops of the feet. So if you'd rather, you can keep the tops of the feet on the floor and drop into a puppy pose, and maybe this is just where you want to be today anyhow. It does not get the same amount of compression on the top of the feet, or you could also press back into child's pose, but again, you're taking your knees into that flexion. So I'm going to do the traditional version, tops of the feet to the floor. Once again, I'm trying to keep my ankles, my inner ankles touching at least to come back. It intensifies it slightly, or maybe a lot. And then coming up, so you may not be able to take all your weight again. You can be forward here. This one doesn't work with the block underneath the knees, but you can stay forward and keep some weight in your arms so you're not fully weight-bearing into your shins and the tops of your feet. If you decide to go further in, you can walk your hands forward and stack your shoulders over your hips. If that's still feeling really good, we can take it up a little bit more by lifting knees off the floor. And this is a pretty big stretch for the front of the ankles. The inner ankles will try to roll away from one another. They might need to, so you can sit. So I actually do this, lift it up, and then take a block underneath the knees to support myself. Big stretch for the front of the ankles, though. In fact, we call this one ankle stretch. So now you're sensing the tops of the feet and the ankles. Notice the compression in the soles of the feet. Going right into the ankles themselves. Imagine you can draw circles around your ankles with the mind's eye. Notice that nice stretch through the shins, And just letting the weight of the thighs fall into the calves, even if you're forward. However you're breathing, it's facilitating relaxation. And send that message of relaxation into your feet. Feel that spaciousness in the fronts of the ankles. And your body is giving you messages, right? Sensation is how your body talks. It's its form of communication. And then you have to decide, is there a response? And sometimes the response can just be mentally saying something to yourself or visualizing your breath going into that area. So we notice an area on the inhale and we just ask it to release on the exhale, on the breath. Different ways to respond to that communication. If it's talking too loud, then we know we have to back out a little bit. If you feel like you can go deeper, well, then do that as well. We've got about 1 more minute here, opening up the tops of the ankles. Keep relaxing the tops of the toes and the toenails into the earth. Breathing in and out. Take your last few breaths. Think of these lovely 4-wheel drive vehicles that we walk around on all day. And I explain that they're 4-wheel drive vehicles that never get to go off-road, right? So this opportunity to create space in the ankles and the feet, where they're usually sort of muffled in shoes. When you're ready to come out, I have a block I have to remove. You may be on your hands. But the interesting thing I always say is, like, we don't want to walk around with a fist all day. We don't want to walk around with our hands spread all day. So notice now that we've been on the tops of the feet, it might feel good to go back into what felt like a toe torture not too long ago, right? So rolling the feet back under. And if that's the case, you can even roll the feet under. Take your hips back towards a child's pose. So counter pose, right? That's the whole idea, is we never want to keep our body in one position. If you know you need more movement, sometimes I'll just go tops of the feet, roll under, tops of the feet, roll under. Or the other option, maybe your spine needs more movement, you can do cat-cow with that. You can roll the toes under and add the cat-cow. We try to keep somewhat still in class, but I know if you're like me, I've been sitting so much, it feels good to get a little movement in between. And to feel how the feet function, press the tops of the feet into the floor on your back bend in your cow. Roll the toes under. So we have both of those ranges of motions from the postures now. Or the next place we're going to go is into a seated position. So you can take your legs out in front of you. So with the seated position, if you find that you can't sit comfortably without falling into your low back, so rolling way back on the sacrum, then you can consider taking a blanket or a bolster and putting it right on the bottom edge of your buttocks, so it just helps to keep your pelvis more forward. That's an option for you, but I'm going to turn towards the camera because this one gets interesting. Once again, 2 options for you. The first option is we take the soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. Everybody, usually this is a crowd favorite. Hopefully it is. Although know that if it's not, you can take bolsters or blocks. I'll show it with blocks and put them underneath your thighs and support the thighs. But what we're going to try to do is intertwine our toes. So it gets fun. You're going to take the first little toe, whichever side you want to do first, and then bring the little toe between the second toe and the first toe and second toe. So you're literally, you have to go in there. You have to use your hands to do this. You're intertwining your toes. Get to know your feet. And then big toes, that's the really interesting one. So just like we could do that with our fingers, some people have longer toes than others, you're going to intertwine your toes. And then just notice where you ended up, which one's on top. I ended up with my left on top. And you're going to keep those toes intertwined and enjoy your Baddha Konasana. So you can come forward if you'd like and fold wherever it feels best for you. So this one we're going to let our body relax, let the knees relax and the thighs, and I want you to bring your awareness into the soles of the feet, right in the centers of the soles of the feet. You can even, your hands are there, you can even try to touch. Where do you think the centers of your soles of your feet are? That soft tissue right around the arch area. That is the talahridaya marma point. It's our marma point that's associated with heart and lung health. And enjoy the way that your 2 feet are touching one another. So if those 2 points are sharing their energy, or energetically see yourself allowing that prana to flow from the 2 heart points in the feet all the way through the legs and back to the pelvis. So create that circular energy going from the pelvis to the soles of the feet. And we just got that little bit of a toe squeeze going on, focusing on the centers of the feet and letting the energy flow freely from the feet through the lower legs, the knees, the upper legs, and into the hips. Even notice the diamond shape of the legs as you continue to let the leg bones be heavy, allowing the upper body to just fall into the pelvis. You can breathe into your backside. We're almost halfway. So on the halfway point, if you'd like to, look at the way that your toes are intertwined and just switch it out. So whichever big toe is on the top is now going to be tucked below that big toe, and then switch them out from there. Sometimes it's really hard to get in there in the first place, or you get cramps. But tuck them in there. Use your fingers, guide them in there. Whoa, big foot cramp on this side. What's going on with you? Share it. Tell me. All right. And then all the way down to the little toes once again. So intertwining those toes. Just switching them out. It's like a nice stitch there, right? And then allowing those intertwined toes to just rest the pinky toe side of the foot on the earth. Knees might still be supported if you'd like. Have something underneath your knees. And back into the Konasana. So now let's see if we can feel ourselves energetically from that talahridaya, that center of the sole of the foot. As you're breathing in, let's carry the energy from the soles of the feet all the way through the legs and the pelvis and up to the heart, the center of your heart. And you can think of the front of the heart or the back of the heart. The back side of the heart is more spacious right now, so you can even go up through the arches of the feet, the centers of the feet, and that back leg line. But make some sort of energetic connection of the soles of the feet to the heart. Staying present in that space. One thing I'll sometimes do with the toes is if you want to take your hands, take the heels of the hands right around the tops of the feet and wrap your fingers too, especially this last couple of minutes. Gently use your hands to squeeze the toes together if you want a little bit more compression. If that doesn't work for you, please don't do it. But you can use your hands to create just a bit more compression. You can also find that as your inner thighs begin to open up, you can take the arches of the feet and gently pull them away from one another, like you're opening your feet up like a book. But the toes are that binder of the book. The toes stay bound and you're opening up the arches. We'll be here for about 1 more minute, present in the space in the body. Relax the shoulders wherever the head and neck are most comfortable. You can just let them fall. Let the head and neck fall and the eyes relax. Take your last few breaths. When you're ready to rise up, inhale up out of the forward fold. At some point it might even become comfortable for your toes to be intertwined, right? But gently pull them apart. You can use your hands to help your thighs back up if you'd like. We're going to take that full minute before we go into the final posture before stay around, because remember we're going to do that self-massage on the feet. But if you want to take your legs out, it might feel really good to roll your toes around. And just stop and be still and notice what you're feeling now in your ankles, your toes, and your feet. Or that you are feeling and present in your ankles and your toes and your feet. Just some nice movements, some circles or extension back and forth, and flexion. Love your feet. All the places they take us, right? Okay. So the next one, because oftentimes we're a little tighter through the back line, I will show you some different options to make this accessible. But we're going to be using our thumb and index finger as little crab claw pinchers. So get those ready. They've got some action on this one. But the crab claw pinchers, for many people, will not reach. We want to get into the tissue between the big toe and the little toe, so the webbing. So if you can come into a forward fold comfortably and reach that webbing, you're all set. If not, please consider putting a bolster or folded blankets, something under the knees to bend the knees. That gets the toes a little bit closer for you. If you're still not there in your forward fold, that's okay, because this is a foot class, right? Although we're opening the backs of the legs. Then you could even take your feet to the floor, bend your knees. You're slowly going to get a stretch to your low back, and then get that thumb and index finger, the J's, and grab that webbing between the big toe and little toe. So we're going to be in this one. This is our final pose. We're going to be here for about 5 minutes. So grabbing a hold of that, you can either keep your knees bent and fall in between your legs, just breathing into the low back as well, or we're going into more of a forward fold, grabbing that webbing of the feet and relaxing down. Sometimes in a yin, if you feel you're close to relaxing but not quite there, you can use a block or a bolster to rest your forehead or your chin on. So I find that just creating a little bit of a podium for my head is nice. And then we want to feel that space right between the big toe and the second toe. And give it just a slight little bit of pinch. Think of compressing that area, that webbing, or get familiar with it. You can give it a little bit of a massage first if you'd like. And we're relaxing the back line of the body. Release the weight of the thighs and the shins into the floor. Let the spine fall towards the floor, towards the legs. And then come into that space in the webbing next to your big toes. And this is our Shipra marma. And Shipra is related also to heart health to some degree, but more so lungs. The lungs. And I like to do this in forward fold because I want you to think of the backs of your lungs. And gently stimulating this point in your own body, first with your mind's eye, but also with your hands. you don't want to do the hands, you can just do your mind's eye, just the subtle body approach. But pinching that area between the big toe and second toe, and then breathe into your back body, into the backs of the lungs. Vitalize. As you breathe out, relax the abdomen towards the thighs. See how much you can let go, allowing the shoulder blades to just fall. Sometimes the elbows can rest on the leg line. And we're all have the same bones but different proportions, so support yourself in any way you need to. The arms, the head. Come into that space between the big toes. Just that little bit of a squeeze or more of a massage. And think of healthy pink lungs, breathing into your lungs. That full, vibrant energy coming in. And the complete release going out, emptying. This might be a good one even to physically deepen the breath. Breathe a little bit longer and slower. So we can find freedom in the lungs by breathing deeper. Feel the movement of your ribs. And just holding the space between the toes. I'm sure it's been a while since you've thought about the webbing between your big toe and your second toe. But there it is for you. Marma. This happens to be one of my favorite places to apply essential oils. When I'm feeling kind of depressed and I know that my breathing is showing that, I put it right between these spaces to encourage a deeper breath, more fullness, the ability to receive that life energy into our body in the form of the breath. Got about 1 more minute in this fold. And now you can continue to breathe all the way up from this space next to the big toes, through the back and the leg line. Feel that space that's been created, the back and spine. Have you reached that space where you can completely let go? And then feel free to release the toes if you're still holding them. I like to wiggle my toes before I do anything else. Notice if you can move just the big toes independently. Big toes are a saddle joint, so they can kind of go in circles, right? Move those big toes around. And then when you're ready to come out, you can slowly lift up on your inhalation, just sort of roll yourself up. I like to take one hand to the forehead at the end and use the strength of my arm to lift my 12-pound head back up so the ears are over the shoulders. Coming out of that forward fold. Just noticing how you feel. So we're going to finish with that self-massage that comes from the practice of Thai yoga. But if you feel like you need a counter pose, because we just did a fairly deep forward fold, if you need some movement, you could come into all fours and do a cat-cow, right? Maybe you're a down dogger and you want to come into a down dog. So anything so that you can sit comfortably. Or if you're still seated and you just want to be still, I should be quiet then. You could also windshield wiper your legs. And then feel yourself once again from your feet. Is there any change, any difference? And then the feet up through the leg line. So I call our feet our mini brains of our body. And then our legs are the jewels of the spine. So getting ready to do that massage. If what you have is a blanket, you can absolutely use a blanket. I'll show that with a blanket, but you can also use your block. So with a blanket, you just want to build a little pedestal. We'll do our left foot first, and you're going to open up out to the side. So if this knee is sticking up in the air, then bring more support in. You want your leg completely supported. So if it's like this is a little bit uncomfortable for my outer hip, I'm going to support it, because this is about health and healing for your foot, and you want to be able to kind of see the sole of your foot. You can lift up if you're falling into your low back. You can also put something right. Remember how we sat on a bolster to tilt, whoops, or fall off the bolster, to tilt the pelvis slightly forward. So you could do that as well. So healthy space for the back and spine, so we can, and the hips and legs, so we can focus on the foot. All right, so let's get in there. So first thing you want to feel is your thumbs. There's a couple of different things we do with our thumbs. One is stacking one thumb on top of the other and pressing. Kind of press and draw the thumbs up. So thumb on top of thumb, and you can explore anywhere in the sole of the foot. So you're going to feel more compression with one thumb. Oh yeah, right there I do. One thumb on top of the other. The other one we do is what we call thumbs chasing thumbs. So they're separate from one another, and it's like one is following the other, and you can do that through the sole of your foot anywhere. So you're just, right now we're just exploring the whole sole of that foot. Keep the leg relaxed. So more compression, one thumb on top of the other, or thumb chasing thumb. And you're just exploring the foot. Think of those marma points right below the big toe, the heel, the center of the foot. You can even pinch the webbing again. Thumb chasing face. So we're just sort of doing a little warm up. So then once you got a warm up, we're going to do a breaking the bread thing, where think about if you have bread in your hand, you're rolling your wrist creases. So you can grab the sole of the foot, my thumbs are on there, and you're going to roll away. So we're going to roll and stretch the sole of the foot. You're pulling your thumbs apart from one another and stretching it out. Like I said, if you can learn this well enough to teach somebody else to do it for you, that's the way to go. But actually, it feels really good to do it to yourself. So you're pulling away, and then this one will work from the top of the foot too. So if you want to take your heel to the floor, you can go the other way. So thumbs start like this together and then draw away. Use your strong arms and hands. This is a great one to strengthen your hands too, right? So you're stretching the top of the foot. Should feel lovely. All right. And then we'll take that back down. Let's say we're ready for a little bit more. Well, you have this lovely right forearm, and I happen to have a very bony forearm. So you can come down and roll your forearm right into the arch of the foot. Yeah. And just do the right amount of pressure for yourself, because you're going to feel a little bone. And if it's too much, the bone on bone, then see if you can get more of the forearm tissue on the sole of your foot. So that's the other way to go. But you're rolling your forearm on your foot. Yeah. And I get right into that arch. That one's still feeling good. Then we can even go a little bit deeper. Take a fist, and you can fist roll. So use all your knuckles and fist roll through your foot. And this one you can find some sensitive areas with your knuckles. I just found one. It's hard for me to hide on camera with this. So rolling it in there. All right, and then let's say we still want to bring it up a little bit more, a little more sensation. That's what we have elbows for. So if you like, you can take your elbow right into the foot, and oh my goodness, make some circles in the foot. Yeah. And if you find a sensitive spot, rather than annoying it and keep pushing and pushing and moving, think about just being still. So I found a really sensitive spot, and I'm just going to rest my head in my hand and just be in that space. So there's this false belief that myofascial release should hurt. Quite the opposite. You're trying to get tissues to relax. And if it's hurting you, the nervous system is going to respond by tightening, by trying to protect you, right? So you just want just enough that it's going on, but it'll feel good. You're not worried about what it's going to feel like later. But you can go back in with that elbow. You can even go into the heel bone with the elbow. I think of those marma points, the heel, center of the foot, and the heart marma, the big toe mound, going into your spleen. All right, and we're getting towards the end. The very last thing we do is our lovely toes. And our toes are basically, we say they give us our grip into reality. So we do what we call a coin rub. So if you take your pinchy thumb and index finger together and rub them together, that's basically what you're going to be doing. I use sometimes my first two fingers, but you're going to go right to the inside of the toe. So right in between the webbing, and you're going to coin rub the knuckle joints and the sides of the toe. I'm starting with my little toe and kind of stretch it out a little bit. And then at the end, take that thumb and index finger, push them together and grab the toenail, pull on your toe a little bit like you're tractioning it, and make some circles. Circle it around. You can go both directions. So your arms are strong here, right? You're pulling it around in circles. And at the very end, we snap it off. Imagine like you're trying to pull that toenail off and let that one relax. So go into the next one. So thumb and index finger, if you can get those in there, on either side of the toe, so not top and bottom, but the sides. And then imagine you're rubbing like that. The toe is a coin in between your two fingers, and you're rubbing that coin between your fingers. Ah. Are you smiling? I hope you're smiling right now. I wanted to do this on a video for so long, but I was really worried about what my reaction and my response would be on a public video. And then you can come and take your thumb and index finger, grab that little toe, squeeze, and then traction, pull, and make some circles. Yeah. So hopefully I'm not weirding you out. When we're done with this foot, you'll see what we've accomplished, and you can go both directions. And then pull on that one. Coin, I'm on number 3 in my toes. If you're ahead or behind, that's up to you. Some toes are more sensitive and need a little more love than others. They want a little more coddling, so follow your body's plan. So thumb rubbing, or coin rubbing the sides of the toes, get right into the joints, and then coming to the tip of the toe, squeezing the toenail, and gently pulling the toe out and making circles. And then pull off. Next toe, 4th toe, squeezing or coin rubbing the sides. Like I said, it'll strengthen your hands too, right? We get to switch hands when we do the other foot. So squeezing. And then you can grab a hold of the toenail and the back side or the bottom of the toe. Draw out first, lengthen the toe, and make some circles. You can circle in both directions. You can even put like your whole arm and elbow, shoulder into this movement, right? Get that shoulder moving, and then pull off. All right, that special big toe. Our big toe is our smartest toe, super smart toe. So same thing, you can coin rub. We were already in that inner webbing, but give it a little squeeze if you'd like. Coin rub the sides of the toe. And then this one I usually take 2 fingers because it's a little bit bigger, 2 fingers on the toenail, thumb to the bottom of the toe, traction it out, and make those circles. And you can see that you should have more mobility in the big toe. More ability to circle it around. You can go both directions. And then pull it off and let it go. Remove any props you have underneath your leg. And then take that leg out, and I just want you to take a moment, and first of all, you can look at your feet. I can always tell the difference just by the color of my feet. But then close your eyes and feel. What do you feel in your left foot, and what do you feel in your right foot? And I hope that it's like me, where the foot we just did feels like twice as big and alive, and the other foot's saying, please pick me, it's my turn. So we're going to do that. So if you did your left leg already, then you bring your right foot in, whichever one you didn't do. So you draw the foot in, but please support it, because it's really hard to reach the foot down here. So put it on a blanket, on a pedestal, build a pedestal for it. Bend the knee. If the knee's up in the air, support the knee, pillows from your couch, whatever you got at home. Create a nice little pedestal. And then we started with the thumbs. So we can do the 2 thumbs pressing, we can do the thumb chasing thumb, and these are just all like opening acts, right? Just to start to feel into that foot. I relax my other foot. And just feeling into that space. We're creating compression with the thumbs, one chasing the other or one on top of the other. And it doesn't always have to be movement. Like I said, if you find a really sensitive area, just keep compressing that area and be present in that space. See if you can get it to release, or if the sensation dulls out. It's exploring the whole sole of the foot. The arch. Okay. And then once we've done those, we can take our hands together like we're breaking bread, take the heels of the hands together and the thumbs together and pull apart. We'll do the sole of the foot first. Pull apart. Yeah, like you're stretching the skin on the sole of the foot. You can be up more towards the toes and the ball mound of the foot. You can kind of get into the center of the foot, just sliding those thumbs across the feet. Put a little elbow grease into it. And then that one works well, I find, for the top of the foot. So if you take your knee up towards the sky and heel to the floor, pulling, and it's like you're rolling the outer edges of the top of the foot down towards the earth. You're pulling and rolling. You can get your toes in there too. Pulling and rolling. Top of the foot, like you're breaking bread. All right. You can also do the coin rub on the top of the foot, or thumb chasing thumb. I've got a lot of sensitivity in the top of this foot. So these are all, this isn't a particular way you have to do this. I'm just teaching you different techniques that we use in Thai yoga, and you can take them to your feet wherever you need them. So we're going to drop back down. And then we moved in a little bit deeper, so each one takes us a little bit deeper usually, into the knuckles. So a lot pointier, right? A little more in your face. And you can roll, if you have rings, be cautious, but you can roll the knuckles into the foot. You can also keep the knuckles, so I kind of do this rolly method, but you can also press the knuckles into your foot and make circles. And I know nowadays, you can go out and buy all kinds of balls with spikes on them and all that stuff. But to me, there's nothing like skin-to-skin contact. And it's your own body. So let your hand feel your foot and your foot feel your hand. And you know that you're stimulating your brain, both parts of your brain, for the hand and the foot by doing this. And then if that's still feeling good, we go to the forearm rolls, and if you want to really dig in there, use the bone of your arm. If not, you can go more in the fleshy part. And so this one, you got to get down there a little bit more, and then roll, right in the arch of the foot. Okay, I'll keep my smile on. Rolling into the arch of the foot. Or maybe keeping more of the soft tissue there. And then the other one that we did was the elbow, getting the elbow right, and you can really explore the heel with the elbow, the heel bone, the arch where we just were, the center of the foot, right in that talahridaya marma. And you can make just little circles with the elbow or just be still. So what I did last time is I found that sensitive area. There's one right there. And you can just sit on it, just be still. And you don't have to be right on the most sensitive spot of that area. You can be to the side of it, and that's okay. So if it's making you flinch or tighten, go just to the side of it. Remember, the idea is to relax, not to send your what we say is your nervous system, your sympathetic, into that fight or flight to protect you. You're relaxing. You want to stay in that easeful space, that space of rest. You can go right into the big toe mound, cross the arch of the foot with the elbow. All right, and then we finish with the toes, which you need a little more for the sole of the foot. So I usually start with the little toe, doing that coin rub, your thumb and index finger coming to the sides of the toes, so in between the webbing, and just rub the knuckle joints of the toe. Now you can sit up straighter too. Rubbing the knuckle joints, and then work your way to the tip of the toe. When you get to the tip, then take one finger, usually the index finger, onto the toenail, and then the thumb to the bottom. Pull and imagine that you're tractioning that little toe, and then make some circles. You can circle in both directions. And don't be surprised if you find that certain toes are a lot more sensitive than others. This is my little toe that's more sensitive. Relax that. Go into your second toe, coin rubbing the sides of the toes. Think of that hand to foot contact. Put all your oomph into it with that arm. And then coming to the tip of the toe, squeeze the tip of the toe. So compress it and then pull out, make some circles. You can circle in both directions. And then snap it off. Third toe, coin rub to the inside of the toe. Take your time, enjoy. Oh, watch for any sensitivity. I just found one. And rolling. So you may find, if you do this on your own, I highly recommend it, that certain toes you can just fly right through, and other ones you want to spend a little more time. Grab a hold of the tip of the toe, press into the toenail on the back of the toe, squeeze, lengthen, so traction it, make some circles. Let that go. And I can still, for me, it's nice, like I'll go back to how my foot that I already did is feeling. It's like glowing. It's still big. I can still feel the effects of doing that foot, and it's motivating to take your time and explore each toe, rubbing the inner line of the toes. And then you can pinch the toenail on the bottom of the toe, squeeze it, pull it, and make a circle. So I'm on my second to last toe. Relax that. And the big toe, you can squeeze the sides. This one sometimes I'll do top and bottom too. A little more area here. And then compressing the toenail into the bottom of the toe. You can use 2 fingers for compression if you want, bigger toe, right? Compress and then traction and make those circles, and you can put your whole arm into it. Find that rotation, just keeping the ankle and the leg relaxed, right? The whole idea, find your mobility through that big toe. Even though your hand is doing the movement, right? We're manipulating it, but it's still moving. Finding that range of motion, both directions. And then snapping that off. Can remove any supports. Maybe you want to pause with your feet and your legs out in front of them. Notice what they look like. and we're going to get ready for our relaxation. So if you want to stay where you are in a seated position for meditation, you're welcome to. We have been seated for quite a while, so it might be a lot more comfortable for you to come down onto your back. We'll do a foot meditation. So coming down, if you are on your back and you want to take the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana, that's a nice way to finish a foot-centered practice, so letting the feet touch each other and talk to one another. Otherwise, maybe knees bent and feet on the floor, so that that's more grounding, letting the feet touch the earth. You could do that in your relaxation on your back and let the inner knees fall together so that the legs are supporting one another and the feet are on the floor. Otherwise, if you just like your legs long, wherever you want to take that position. And being present in the space of your feet. We're going to do a body scan, and then we'll do the whole body briefly. We're going to end up in the feet. So start from the feet, and then in your own time, work your way up from the feet all the way to the crown of the head. Take about a minute to do this, and notice where your mind stops and where it just flows through space, going from the feet to the crown of the head. Notice any spaces that you're stopping along the way, or also notice when your mind wanders off, either because of a distraction outside of you or a distraction inside yourself. And finish off that scan from the toes to the crown of the head. Then feel your fingers, your hands, the palms and the backs of the hands. Take about 10 breaths or so to scan the space from your fingers into the center of the heart. Whatever that looks like for you. Any spaces of awareness, any spaces that you pass through. Take another breath or so. Bring yourself into your heart space. And feel yourself through the rhythm of your breath. Feel the physical movement of the body with the breath in the heart space. Take a long, nourishing breath in to the heart space. And as you breathe out, send that energy all the way down through the torso and the legs and into the soles of the feet. See if you can find that space right in the centers of your feet. And breathe into the heart center. And send that heart energy all the way down through your body, the legs, and into that heart space, the center of the soles of your feet. You can do this 1 or 2 more times. Or see which space is more real for you. Where can you be more consciously present in the soles of the feet or in the center of the heart, perhaps both. And wherever you are, see yourself receiving the energy deep from the core of the earth coming up through your feet and into the heart center. Bring your awareness back into the feet if you're not there. Sensing the centers of the soles of the feet. Just notice how your feet feel. What can you see? What can't you see? Just as we did in the very beginning of practice. Is there more awareness or less awareness of feet? Certain parts of your feet? Your ankles? Where do your feet want to lead you? And you can begin to wiggle your toes. You can rotate your ankles. And any other movements that feel juicy for you. Full body stretch or hugging your knees into your chest. A favorite way that you like to come out of your relaxation pose. Working your way into a seated posture if you'd like. Or because you're at home, you can stay there. You can stay on the floor relaxing, or you can come into a seated meditation now. And in meditation, we try to sit in a way that the soles of the feet are facing up and the palms of the hands are facing up. So we're directing all our energy upward, including the feet and the hands. Come back into your heart center. If you'd like, you can take your hands to your heart center. Thank you for taking this time with me, and thank yourself for doing an entire practice focusing on your feet. My hope is that your feet soon take you to some wonderful places. For now, even if it's just walking outside in the sunshine, take the time to think about and appreciate your feet and all the places that they take you. And stay grounded. Namaste.